Stalwart, and I'm sitting here with my lovely guest, author Jennifer Crenshaw. How are you?
Hi, wonderful. Thanks for asking. How are you again, Dr. Shower?
I know. I'm doing well. It's been a while, but I'm here in Atlanta with you because you have just done this beautiful journey document. How do you want to call it?
A documentary.
A documentary, and also you were selected as Book of the Month.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I was selected for Books of the Month by Preach the Word Television Network.
Preach the Word
Television Network out of Roswell, Georgia. And I also was selected to do a documentary on my story, The Day My Dad Came Home.
Awesome. So that's what brings us here, into Atlanta to Preach the Word Worldwide Network, I believe. That's where we're at, and I'm excited.
Yes,
so today we talked a little bit about your book and your volume, The Day My Dad Came Home. Let's talk about volume 3. I really want you to get into that, and then we'll talk a little bit about volume 4 that you are projecting to come out in May.
Correct.
So let's talk about volume 3. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Volume 3 is actually a continuation of the book series. We have Volume 1, which is the things a desperate woman would do for love. We have Volume 2, which is the struggle within.
Right.
Volume 3 will actually launch on next Saturday, January 20th, and it's called Those Tables Turn. We are at the breakthrough. We are just now seeing the breakthrough of the story, and tables are turning, things are happening, side chick is gone. We are living our best life now, and then Dad gets sick. That's what Volume 3 actually covers, and it covers how I actually had to jump back into the bumblebee's nest, hive again, and I had to save my dad. We talk about a lot of things, because I normally do like what's called reflections, where I go back in my past and I speak. But in Volume 3, it's very special because I actually do an apology to my daughter.
Okay.
And I speak to her about things in her childhood that I could have done better. But as a single mom, it doesn't come with a manual.
Right.
So we talk about different things. We talk about me addressing that, and I'm very transparent about my apology to her, how I want things to be, how things were. We talk about different things about, as I said, my father being sick, and how he got sick when he left Side Chick. But he actually left and he did come home. We talk about the different things of where he came home, but he wasn't the same.
Healing as well, even in the whole book series, The Day My Dad Came Home, it's a healing process, not just for you, but also for the people that are involved in the book, for those that's reading the book, so it's powerful. So you even talking about releasing Volume 3. When is the release date for Volume 3?
The release date for Volume 3 is next Saturday, January 20th, 2024.
Okay, and I know you got some stuff lined up for that.
I have a lot of stuff going on right now. I have my podcast called Speak Your Truth, which is actually going to start on Monday on Instagram at secure_the_book. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm starting a podcast.
You have a lot going on. I know a lot of people will be tuned into that podcast because it's real life stories.
Right.
Your testimony, your journey, everything you have been through. And one thing I like about the book and I like about you is real. I'm in politics, so when I ran for state representative, I ran on the acronym REAL.
Right.
Because, many people can't carry that title REAL.
Correct.
When you see me is what you get.
Right, exactly.
And that's what I like about you. You don't sugarcoat nothing.
No.
In that book, when you talk about Side Chick, you talk about the things, Melvin the Jazz Singer, you talk about all these things. I mean, it's real life stuff that you get.
Melvin the Jazz Singer's name is actually changed. His name is now Ghost.
Okay.
We had to change his name because Melvin the Jazz Singer's story was so deep and he did so much stuff. He deserved an upgrade.
Oh my God.
And I changed him to Ghost.
Oh, I know that's symbolic. I knew it.
Yes.
Symbolic.
Yes.
So is he in the Volume 4 or Volume 3?
Volume 4 he's actually in Volume 3.
Okay.
Volume 3 is 75% of Volume 3. And Volume 3, I want to say, is a novel. Okay. It is actually 778 pages.
Wow.
And 75% of Volume 3 is talking about Ghost. My relationship with Ghost. And then Volume 4, what I did was, Volume 4 is Ghost's story all through. It's the whole entire story of Ghost. But what I wanted to do in my healing journey is I wanted to go ahead and be done with Ghost.
Yeah.
Once and for all. However, Ghost may have volume 4. I'm talking about Ghost in volume 4. The entire book is his. It's called Erased. That is scheduled to come out May 5th, 2024. But Ghost will have his entire story told all the way to the end to complete it. And then Ghost is no more. But Ghost will appear from volumes 5 through volumes 8, the remainder of the series.
Wow.
Because there's no way that I can actually tell the story without including Ghost in the story.
That's right.
But I intend to be done with Ghost story at the end of volume 4.
Okay. So with volume 4,
yes.
What else, you talk a little bit about ghosts and things like that. What else do you want your readers to get out of volume 4 when they get that?
Well, I definitely want them to understand that volume 4 is like a spinoff of the series. Although it's included in the series, it's a spinoff. There was so much detail put into volume 4 simply because I have to tell the story. I began telling the story of when Ghost and I actually were in a relationship. But all of the turmoil and the trouble with Ghost didn't really start until we broke up. But it's how we broke up.
Right.
I speak about in volume 4, it is called Erased. And the subtitle of volume 4 is A Warlock's Prayer. I want to explain the subtitle to everyone because I know that everyone's thinking, okay, so she calling him a warlock, or is she saying he's doing prayer, or she whatever. So the way it is that Ghost serves two masters. Ghost is a man that he portrays that he's a man of God. However, he's secretly serving the devil. And this is something that I found out. And unfortunately, I found it out in 2021. However, I ignored it. But I found out definitely this year that he was doing incantation.
Right.
While still preaching and saying that he's a man of God.
Wow.
So, a warlock's prayer. A warlock doesn't say prayers.
They say incantations.
They say incantations.
Spells.
Right. But a man of God says a prayer.
Right.
So it's a double meaning.
Yeah.
It's an oxymoron actually.
Yeah.
And the reason why I listed that as the title is because he's a man of God that's preaching and saying he's a man of God and saying prayers, in which he said prayers to me, says prayers to others, says that he's a man of God, says that he's of God. However, secretly, he's actually speaking incantations, in which he's done that twice over my life. And I wanted to get that out. And Erased, as far as the title, Erased, I want everyone to understand that Erased is not about Ghost. Now, we do know that Ghost is called Ghost, and I want to tell you why. Because he goes.
He gone.
He goes. he constantly goes.
Yeah.
So during the time that we broke up in August of 2021. During the time that we broke up, we were broken up and I didn't even know it. I didn't know that we were broken up, but he was ghosting me. I talked about it, I think, in volume 1, where either in our first interview when we were at Destin, I talked about how he left on the 7th of July, right after July 4th. He left. The day he left, we were in love. We were okay.
Yeah.
He said, "We love you." When I talked to him that night, we had some words about some pictures in his phone, but we still said, "I loved you." The following day, Ghost didn't even want to know me. A break spell had been done, remember?
Yeah.
The break spell had been done. And in volume 3, I talk about who actually done the break spell, because it just wasn't Side Chick.
That's right.
Side Chick wasn't the only one that was working.
Some other people involved.
There were some more people involved.
Wow.
And in volume 3, I talk about who that person was, how they broke us up. But during the time when they broke us up, he was ghosting me. That's what red flag, alarm, rang the alarm. And he was ghosting me. And I watched every day for those 18 days that he was ghosting me. I watched my pictures on social media and any reference of me be erased. He was removing my pictures,
everything.
but he was contacting me And, you know, he would contact me and just randomly and say, I love you.
Yeah.
Or thanks for giving me a moment. And he was ghosting me. But we'll go back to volume 3. Mm-hmm. In volume 3, my last chapter is how Purple Rain ruined Christmas and the Cali Moon. Mm-hmm. In volume 3, I talk about Ghost and I sitting for 2 hours a week before Christmas, mm-hmm. and we're planning my trip to California.
Right.
I'm moving to California with him. We're going to have this business. We're going to do all this stuff together. I finally get the life that was promised to me in the relationship. Because the way it goes is, I've been promised the life that I was promised in the relationship the entire time.
Right.
So I think that's why I stayed, because I was promised that life. And life was good when I was with Ghost.
Right.
But it's afterwards when life went to hell.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got ready to move. I packed my entire house, in which volume 3 is going to come different this time.
Yeah.
Volume 3 will come with color photos. And I actually have a picture of my stuff being packed in the garage.
Right.
The entire garage is a double-car garage, and it's filled with my stuff. So after we planned for 2 hours to move me to California right after Christmas, 2 days later, I found out that Ghost was texting his ex, Christy, in the book. He was texting her and planning to marry her. And then a week later on Christmas Day, Ghost shows up at the second ex-wife's house, Spacer. Her name is Spacer. He showed up at her house on Facebook playing at this old record player. And he was playing Nat King Cole. And he had just planned to move me a week prior. And he was talking to Christy about moving to California to marry her. And he was in Spacer's house on Christmas Day. So Ghost was a very busy man.
Yeah.
He was very busy.
So these, you know, in following up from volume 1, 2, 3, you know, and even getting into 4, how are things going with your team and sales and things like that? How is that going?
Okay. I have a team in Africa and Kenya. It's comprised of 4 people. I have 2 marketing assistants, and I have an editor, and I also have a graphics designer.
Good.
I have an entire publishing company, and we're actually getting into publishing other people's books. Good. We have a client that's going to begin on January 30th, and that'll be our first book for TDM DCH Publishing.
Right.
That's
the acronym for
TDM DCH Publishing, which is the Day My Dad Came Home Publishing Group.
Okay, beautiful.
So we are getting ready to, I've been working with this team for over a year.
Wow.
They were involved in volume 2. They are now involved in volume 3, and they will be involved in volume 4.
Okay.
They are working diligently to help me to get everything done for these books. I have a great marketing assistant named Rebecca Mwangi. She is totally awesome, and the dedication and the loyalty you can't beat.
Wow.
When God told me to go where my story would be understood, I went to Africa for help. I actually met the editor first. He introduced me to Rebecca, and it just grew from there. Yeah, the team is awesome. The team is beautiful. We've ran into a lot of stuff, because when the books are actually written, we have all kinds of turmoil and chaos and abnormal things that happen.
A lot of spiritual warfare.
We have a lot of spiritual warfare going on, and right now these people, Rebecca herself, Nexus, which is the editor, they have been up pretty much every night for the last week trying to get volume 3 published. Volume 3 was supposed to be published last week, but because of the spiritual warfare, we are encountering error messages that we don't understand. They are encountering font difficulty, all kind of okay, let's put it like this. Anything that can happen is happening, and it always happens when these books release. I always have problems with the book getting published. I always have problems with social media where I can't post things. This year, fortunately, we've been able to post on social media, so that's great. But when it comes to getting a book published, all authors know that your books need to be published at least 2 weeks prior. we have had a difficulty to the point where we have KDP, the people who are trying to help us to publish the book. We've had them on the phone nonstop trying to help us, and the books just won't go. It won't go.
So
we just gotta pray our way through.
You gotta pray and fast. That's right. The power of God, and that's what it's about. Anytime you're gonna put something out there into the universe that's gonna help heal, that's gonna rebuke the devil or expose the devil. That's what happens. That's what the problem is. It wants to come against, but as long as y'all praying and fast, it's gonna break loose.
It's gonna break loose today.
Yeah,
we've already claimed it. They're working.
Okay, also, you was talking about ghosts.
Yeah.
So, have you heard from ghosts?
Recently, Ghost and I had an encounter where, because I want to help you to understand how I'm going to get to the ending of it when I get to the end. Recently, Ghost and I had an encounter where Ghost promised me for 3 years that he was going to attend my graduation. That was highly important to me because on my journey to become a lawyer, he was the one that pushed me and kept reminding me of the goal and the purpose and becoming a lawyer. And then I was an honor student, so Ghost said he was going to come to my graduation. That was the plan for 3 years. He was going to come to my graduation and he was going to pin my honors pin on me. Well, a situation happened where Ghost was in California. My graduation was in Washington, D.C. And Ghost told me that he was not going to be there probably about a week or two before my graduation.
Okay.
And so we had a conversation, and we had been through so much that I told him, I said, you're not coming to my graduation? If you don't come to my graduation, then that's it. Because I had been through so much with him. He was in California, he was living, he was struggling because he didn't have his license. He had lost his license. So therefore he was up there, and I was worried about it because I loved him. So he was sleeping in his car, and he was, homeless and everything. And then me being the loyal, faithful girlfriend, I jump into action. I don't want you there. So I'm sending you a plane ticket to come home. You can get yourself together. We can fly back to get your trunk when you get your license. And Ghost was like, the first plane ticket that I sent, he didn't even pick it up. But the strangest part about Ghost is that although he didn't pick up the plane ticket, he was still calling and contacting and saying, I need help. Please send me money. Please do this. No problem. I'm going to be there for you. We're together. No problem at all. But I even went to California for my birthday just so I can be with Ghost on my birthday. I went to California. I took care of him for the entire week because, once again, he was struggling. In June, when I asked him to come to my graduation after my birthday, which was in April, Ghost told me that he wasn't coming. Ghost got back in his truck the following 2 weeks, about 2 weeks later, right around my graduation. Ghost got right back in his truck, went back to work, and blocked me after all that I had did.
Wow.
Right? So I hadn't talked to Ghost for about 3 months. We picked up again in August. I had moved to Atlanta. I went back to Atlanta because I was just ready. I was ready to get my life back. I had been at my dad's house for a couple of years. It was time for me to go to law school. So I wanted to be independent. I wanted to live on my own and do my own thing and just get back comfortable, get back familiar with Atlanta. So I ended up moving to my own place. I contacted Ghost and I told him, I said, you've been blocked. You've been having blocked for about 3 months now, and I still don't understand why I'm blocked. But I really want us to talk. I'm living on my own now because I hadn't lived on my own the entire time that I was with Ghost. See, what I want you to understand is that Ghost and I saw each other for 3 years. Our official relationship was only about 4 or 5 months in 2021. In 2020, I actually met Ghost, and our relationship was about 3 months, but everything was over the phone. But in 2021, I actually met Ghost, and I started a relationship with Ghost about 2 weeks later after I met him. Okay, so even though we weren't technically in a relationship, I continued to see Ghost the entire time, all the way up until October of last year.
So like you said, in Volume 4, you're going to do something special. Put all that from the beginning of you meeting him all the way up to now. That's gonna be amazing.
Because if you really think about it, and he was there the entire 3 years. That is why he was there the entire 3 years, because I continued to see Ghost.
Right.
And in volume 1, there's a dedication to Ghost. And I'm talking about a little bit about Ghost, but I'm not really talking about Ghost. In volume 2, he's Melvin the jazz singer. And I'm telling chapter 7, that's his entire chapter. Melvin the jazz singer. I'm struggling, I'm fighting, and I'm saying a narcissist is a demonic spirit.
It is.
So we got all these different things going in
different personalities.
All these different things, different personalities. I know that he's bipolar. I know that he has some issues. I know that he's dealing with split personality. But where did all this come from? All of it came from when he was a child.
Yeah.
I speak in the book about, in volume 3, about the things that he told me about the traumatic experiences that he had during his childhood, and that's what made him a narcissist. But I struggled through the entire volume 3 with, is Ghost a warlock, or is he a narcissist?
Right.
And I said, he's a narcissistic warlock. He's both.
Wow.
So I'm dealing with a lot. And I'm dealing with a lot.
That's something, you gave out a lot of information. So people really got to read that. And you know what's funny? People are going to identify with that book. Because a lot of times people are married to people like that, and they don't know, they don't understand what it is.
And a lot of times women are narcissists.
Yeah.
And men are just not the one that's
narcissist. Girl, you just broke that down.
Yeah.
So
I determined that he was actually both. He was a warlock, and he was a narcissist.
True.
And he was both, and that both of them demonic.
Drive you crazy.
Both of them are demonic. And I was hurt. I was hurt the entire book because I didn't want to believe that about him.
Right.
Well, we get to, and you asked me how recently, we get to October. As I said, we began talking in August. We started planning on his trip to Atlanta. In October, or in September, he actually, I asked him, was he coming to see me? We planned it for about 2 weeks. Then finally, I saw that he was in Georgia. The only time Ghost comes to Georgia is because of me. Anytime he's in Georgia, he sees me. So I asked him, I said, come see me. He came and saw me, but he likes to do it his way. So he actually invited me out to dinner to this 5-star restaurant, made the reservations, and sent me the address. That's his thing. That's what he did when he first met me. He sent me the address and said, be here.
Right.
And I just thought that was so sexy at the time. But he did the same thing in October. He sent me the address and said, meet me here. I got there. He had us a table. He said, Jen, I had to pay. This is the bottle table, so I had to pay for $150 bottle in order for us to get this table. And I was like, oh, I felt so good. I really felt special. But really, he was just trying to make up for all the stuff that he had done to me. Because he had done a lot. I mean, I'm not even touching on the things that he's done to me. He's done so much to me that $300 dinner wouldn't even cover it. But we were sitting at the table, and he said, I drove all the way here because I would like for you to write my book. And when he said that, we had talked about me writing his book, but I never thought he was serious. He said, I want you to write my book, and I drove all the way here to see you. Because I hadn't seen him since April. I hadn't seen him since April. This was September. And he said, I want you to write my book because you're good. I know you can do it. You can tell my story. You know my story, so you can tell it. I want you to write my book. So I agreed to write the book, but on one condition. The only condition I agreed to write the book for was, I need to know what's going on with this lady that's constantly on your page. The one thing about Ghost and I is, I didn't deal with anyone else. As I said, I'm sure something was going on between me and this lady, but the way he always perpetrated it to me was, or lied to me, he just told lies. He would tell me that she was a fan. He would say all kinds of stuff, and I guess he would try to make me feel comfortable and to believe him. He would basically tell me she was a fan. She was chasing him around the internet. Things like she had been married for 35 years and she was divorced for 1. She was not his size, type. She was too big for him. She was wanting him to move in with her. She was buying things. She was sending things. He was just telling me he didn't want this woman, basically. And I was telling him, it doesn't sit well with me. I need to know what's going on because I don't want to clash with anybody. He said, you don't never have to worry about that, Jen. He called me Jen. You don't ever have to worry about that, Jen, because you know you and I are forever on solid ground. Right. This woman is a business connection. This is what he stated. For 30 minutes on that dinner date, we talked about this woman. Mm-hmm. Okay? In the book, I call her Forehead. That's her name. I call her Forehead. He talked about this woman. He told me she was a business connection. There was nothing sexually or any kind of relationship going on. He said, Jen. I said, yes. He said, you do realize I haven't met this woman in person, right?
Oh, God.
And I said, you haven't met her? He said, no, I didn't believe that. Because as comfortable as this woman acted, she acted like she was comfortable. Yeah. She was posting her pictures on his page. She was making comments as if, you know, she was seeing him. Yeah. But he was seeing me. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. And I knew he wouldn't tell me the truth.
Wow.
I knew he wouldn't. But these are the type of things that I was experiencing with Ghost. And she wasn't the first one that he's done this with. She wasn't the first one that he's labeled a fan.
Right.
You know. Right. And so I kept saying to him, it doesn't sit well with me. And I need to know what's going on. I knew something was coming. So what I did was I put this prayer cloth over my door. Because when I write the volumes, I actually go back. And I experience everything that I experienced during that volume, okay? During volume 3, I fought a lot of demons. I'm talking about physically, in person, in my sleep. I woke up with several bruises all the time. So I knew that something was coming.
Right.
And the way that I knew something was coming was my entire right side of my face swelled up.
Wow.
Then by about midday of the first day that I started writing, I couldn't see out my right eye.
Goodness.
Okay? So you got all this going on.
Yeah, you know.
And that's I know because it's a distraction. Right. Put the prayer cloth up, okay? That was the first distraction. So I was sick when Ghost came. But I still felt comfortable enough to be around him because of the relationship. I could be around him, looking any kind of way. I was swollen when I actually saw Ghost. So I went back to the hospital the morning that Ghost left because I started getting worse and worse. And every time I began to try and attempt to write volume 3 again, I would end up back in the hospital. So I was in the emergency room and I said, let me let Ghost know. Because, hey, we're back on track. We're getting ready to write this book together. We're back on track. I'm going to finally get the life that I actually was promised. And I text him and I say to him, I'm in the ER again. Please call. I went through the whole night in the ER and he never called. And I thought it was rather strange because he left, he was calling, thank you for this beautiful time. I enjoyed the peaceful surroundings. I love you. We're going to work on this. We're going to get it together, right? I get home from the emergency room and realize the following morning that I still haven't heard from Ghost.
Right.
And I was like, what is going on? Something is going on. You know, everything is set in stone. What are we doing? I go on Facebook, and Ghost and I were Facebook friends. We had added each other back, and we were living our lives, you know. And I see Ghost on my stories in a story with a woman standing in the back of him in a kitchen. And I'm wondering, and I'm like, whose house is Ghost in? Because who's the woman?
Right.
So I kept looking at the video over and over again because I'm trying to figure it out because I am an Inspector Gadget about my business. And when it comes to who I'm dealing with, and you got to understand, I've been faithful. I haven't been involved with anybody else. And so I'm looking and I'm trying to figure out who is this woman, and they're singing Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, Baby. I'm like, who is this woman? Come to find out, it was Forehead.
Yeah, the same woman.
The same woman that a night, in less than 24 hours, that he denied to me and told me that he was not seeing, that he had not met. And he left my house and went and met her.
Wow.
Still denied her.
And you seen it.
Saw it. And on the 9th of October, I will say this. On the 9th of October, when I told Ghost that he was going to lose everything he had because of the way that he did this, in which he didn't have to do this, Ghost began and showed his true colors. Ghost began speaking incantations over my life.
Wow.
And that's how I found out. He had already done it before, and I still couldn't leave him. And I wondered why I couldn't leave him. But on that particular day, when he spoke over my life and he spoke harm to me, I determined that I was done with Ghost. And I'll never forget what Ghost said to me. Ghost said, "You really messed up this time, Jen." Those were Ghost's last words to me. That was October 9th. October 10th comes in, and Ghost shows up with forehead, and he's only showing half of her body. But he did it that way to spite me. It wasn't about the audience. It was about me. Okay. So from that point forward, have I talked to Ghost? Ghost, even after that day, Ghost contacted me again. And after I had called him a warlock, I said, "We know who you are, warlock." And he still contacted me and answered me. And then most recently, Ghost had the audacity to contact me on New Year's Day. Well, actually a day after, the 2nd of January.
Right.
He contacted me and wished me Happy New Year. And I thought that this whole situation is strange.
Strange.
It's very strange. Because why would you want to contact me and say Happy New Year when you know I'm getting ready to write your life and expose you? For all of the things that you did continue, and I went through that for 3 years, then something's wrong. Something's wrong. The soulmate thing, the soul ties, not soulmate. I do believe, I did believe that he was my soulmate, but now I believe it's soul ties.
Yeah,
it is very difficult to get rid of that.
That's what I say. You know, sometimes it takes time to do that, but God have to really come in and cut that cord.
Yes,
so, and you have to allow Him to do it. But I don't want to take too much time.
Okay.
So, is there anything else you want to tell our audience? Or anything else? Author Jennifer Crenshaw, anything else you want to tell our audience?
The main thing I wanted to tell everyone, the subtitle that I have, well, actually the kind of phrase that I have for everyone for volume 4 is "Be careful who you trust."
Right.
That is the main statement I want to say for the entire book series.
I love it.
Be careful who you trust.
That's right.
It wasn't just for volume 4, although it's very fitting of volume 4. Be careful who you trust in your home. Be careful who you trust in your presence. Analyze, look for the red flags. If something's not right, 9 times out of 10, and your gut's telling you something's not right, it's not right.
It's not right.
Follow your intuition. If your gut tells you it ain't right, it ain't right.
Okay.
And learn and live by that.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, thank you, author Jennifer Crenshaw.
Thank you for having
me. I look forward to listening to your podcast.
Yes, and it's called Speak Your Truth.
Speak Your Truth. And I have said at the beginning of the year that I had put on my post, live your truth.
Yeah.
So not only speak it, live it.
Speak your truth.
Yes.
And if you speak your truth, you'll never go wrong.
You'll never go wrong.
Talking about your truth.
Your truth.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love you more. Thank you.
All right, y'all, that's it for the Lavish Show. Make sure you secure the book with author Jennifer Crenshaw
on securethebook.com.